So, Ankit, here we are, just like that, already June.
That's right.
June means May stats are out.
Wow.
June means the Oilers are in the finals. Again, repeat match with Florida. And today's the big game, the first game of the finals. So,
Absolutely.
Go Oilers, go.
Well, here we are, Rob, once again, like every month, standing here talking about stats, what happened last month, what's the predictor versus what we predicted last month. And
There's some interesting numbers here.
interesting numbers. So this one will be something that you should really watch till the end because it's different. This
Yeah.
time it's a little different. So
Things are changing as they always are, but it's an
they always
interesting pivot here. So without further ado, we're just gonna just quickly, just like last time, we're gonna be looking down on our stats here. We'll include everything for you in the video, in the comments below. But what we're gonna do is just kind of go over it in a kind of a organized fashion where we'll start with the selling prices, the up-to-date selling prices. We'll go into the new listing inventory, the sales, and kind of go over some fun numbers about the high rollers as well.
absolutely. So let's get started, right? So where do you want to begin with the average sales price, Rob?
Might as well. So
Yeah.
that's what everybody kind of always gauges. Even the journalists from across Canada, they always focus on the average price for all residential in all the different cities. So let's start with that. Without further ado, what do we got here, Ankit?
Well, the average sales price in May 2025 was $431,000, right? Which compared to last year, May 2024, is higher. It's 5.2% higher. So in May 2024, the average sales price was $417,000. But the difference is compared to last month, Rob.
Well, the month-over-month stats are not quite as important, I would say, because things do change month over month as we're going through the different segments of the market, as we're going through the different seasons. Usually in spring, of course, we have a lot more busy activity and things do change. So, but just for the sake of knowledge, the month over month numbers actually went down by about 3.2%.
Yeah, so last month the average sales price was $445,000. This month is $431,000, right? Remember, this is all residential, vacant lands, condos, apartments, townhomes, detached home, everything is included in this. Why do you think that is, Rob? Why do you think there is a negative?
There's a lot of things going on in the market. It's always very complex, of course. But in this time around, what we've got is some really unpredictable things happening with the government. So we just went through an election.
Yeah.
So we had a new election, a new prime minister in Canada, and of course we've got the very unpredictable president in the United States. So with his tariff talks, there's always things changing. So there could be some hesitancy going on there. But in overall, Alberta's still doing very, very well. We're still the place where everybody's moving to.
Yeah, the biggest thing that everybody should note over here is as compared to last year, our average sales price has still got up. Let's say as compared to last month, it is like what, -3%, but in the long run of things, you've still gained about 5.2% in equity if you did buy it last year in May.
Well, close. 3.4%.
3.4%.
Yeah,
sorry.
because it's
that was the
3.4
median.
from May of 2024 to May of 2025.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, that's pretty good for, just year over year stats overall. Now, let's break it down so that it's a little bit more granular, a little bit easier to understand into different segments, different types of homes.
Absolutely.
So let's start with the detached single-family home.
Well, detached, our average price point is $561,000, which is an increase by 3.1% as compared to last year, right? So we are hovering around that late 500s in our average detached selling price point all over throughout the year.
Now, to put that into perspective, in, say, for all of our audience from the Greater Toronto area or Greater Vancouver area, I mean, you're lucky if you can buy a one-bedroom condo for that, let alone here we have a very nice single-family home that, you have 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, double attached garage in a nice neighborhood.
Yeah.
So it's very, very affordable here still,
And
even though the prices have gone up.
Yeah, and this is an average price of the detached homes. We have inventory spectrum like for older homes, like say built in 1980s, 1970s, 1990s, they sometimes start from the 400,000s or even late 300s. So depends upon like the condition of the home, of course, but like we have a huge spectrum here in Edmonton. That's what really blows my mind is like if you have $550,000, $560,000, the chances of getting a very good move-in ready home is really, really high.
You know, that's a good point. I know that you actually moved here just a couple of years ago from the Greater Toronto Area yourself. So for you, it's really surprising, isn't it? Just how much value we have here. Even though in the last couple of years that you've been here, prices have gone up, it's still very, very affordable by comparison, right?
Absolutely. So as we can see the trend, the average price is going up. We are still affordable. So it still, marks that the right time to buy would be yesterday, to be honest. Well, if you missed yesterday, so right now is the best time.
That's right.
But the averages are still increasing, although we are affordable so far, right?
Yeah, you know, all the predictions, all the signs are there that we're going to continue to increase in prices over the next coming year or two.
Yeah.
Despite of what's going on with the tariffs, despite of what's going on with the government, the fact is that Alberta is still the most affordable place to live, and the Edmonton area in general, for the size of city we are, over 1 million population, by far is the lowest price place in Canada. So if you're considering making a move to a larger center, Edmonton is a great choice. When we still have lots of equity that you can still make over the future in a couple of years anyways. So
100% makes sense.
Let's go down.
Yeah,
and check out the duplexes.
So same trend in the half duplexes, or you call the semi-detached market. Our average price is $439,000, which is an exact 3.1% increase, same as the detached segment.
Same.
Since last year. So same thing as we said, huge demand for these both types of properties, detached and semi-detached. Market is strong on that side, but as we predicted in our few previous videos, Rob, like we see at townhouses has risen by 7.1%.
Even more so.
Average price is now $301,000, right?
Yeah, if you compare that to last year, if you bought a townhome last year, even though last year the prices went up, how much did they go up? Over 12% between 2023 and 2024 in the townhomes. You would have paid about $282 on average, but even so, back in May of last year, if you paid $282, this year, that same home is selling for $301.
Think about the compounding effect. So in May 2024, the increase was 12.5%, right? 12.1%. Now, from that increase, we have further increased by 7.1% on that average price.
And we're still going up. That is a very hot segment of the market. That particular type of property, a townhome, basically meaning that it's still the same size as a single family detached home, still the same size as a duplex.
Yeah.
It just happens to have a neighbor on each side.
Yeah.
You are getting a lot of value. There's basically about $120,000 difference between each of those segments. And that bodes very similar to the difference between a townhome and an apartment style condo.
An apartment style condo. Again, first time home buyers, investors.
Great place to start.
Want to buy a place for your your kids going to the university.
Yeah,
this segment is really, really hot.
Yeah.
Right. So especially near the university areas, we do see high demand. Our average price right now is $208,000, which is no surprise an increase of 3.6% as compared to last year, right?
And last year, I mean, that segment really went up a lot.
10.5%.
Yeah. So between 23 and 24, it went up by 10%. Now, I know that this doesn't sound like a huge surprise to some of you from Toronto or Vancouver, but here in the Edmonton area, we have not seen a lot of movement in that apartment style condo. It's just now that they're finally catching up. So there's still a ton of incredible value that you can get in that particular segment of the market. I mean, weren't you just telling me that you were showing some properties that were like under $100,000 and they were nice apartment style condos?
Oh yeah, some studio condos and one bedroom apartments. great for a single person or student housing.
Yeah.
So those are much in demand. They are under like $120,000,
And imagine you can get
$110,000.
under $100,000 for an apartment-style condo still. You know, you have to open up your search criteria as far as the geographical area, but they're there. University, even in the prime areas of university areas, you can still find a ton of inventory under $300,000 for 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom condos that are within few minutes walking distance to the U of A.
I like to joke with my clients, as much as you're going to pay for your car, you can be a homeowner in Edmonton.
That's true. That is so true.
With a cheaper interest rate.
Right?
So,
and lower payments.
And lower payments. And guess what? Don't even stay in it yourself. Just rent it out.
Yeah,
and you'll be positive cash flow too.
And not only positive cash flow, which is very, very rare in most markets across Canada, but you'll be earning equity because these prices will not last. These prices are guaranteed to go up over this.
Absolutely. Again, come back to that compounding effect, Rob. So prices increased by 10.5% last year. And on that average price, we are now increased by 3.6%.
And then it's still slated to go up next year. So.
Right. So that kind of paints your story. So if you are thinking about, hey, now that the election's over, how's the market doing? Market is still pretty strong here in Edmonton, I can say. I know for some major cities, condo market is not doing that great right now, but in our market, just the demand.
Well, the difference is in some of the other cities, the condo market and real estate market in general has already gone up so much for the last few years.
Yeah, exactly.
Here in Edmonton, not so much. We're catching up. Slowly catching up.
Exactly.
And there's still a significant difference between our prices and our neighbors to the south in Calgary.
Absolutely.
There is an approximately $250,000 difference still.
$250,000 to $200,000 in the Detached segment specifically, right? And it's about more than $150,000 difference on the overall average market there in Calgary. So, and believe it or not, like half of my clients this year has been people moving in from Calgary.
Yeah.
And they're like, why are we going to spend $200,000 more for a detached home?
Same home.
And we can have a very good standard of living here in Edmonton.
That's right. Now, the other reason why they're moving here is because they've already seen that writing on the wall. Some of those investors that we're working with are actually residents of Calgary. They're buying here in Edmonton. They're not moving to Edmonton. They're buying here as investments because they know what's coming. It's going to be the same thing that happened in Calgary.
Yeah.
So they're making those smart moves right now. It's a great time to buy.
That's where most of our new construction projects and pre-construction projects have been bought up by investors from either Calgary, Ontario, and BC.
So true, so true.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, you know what? Some other numbers that people like to always hear about is the listing inventory.
Yeah.
So the listing inventory has also gone up. So let's just quickly run through that. What's our current listings and how does that fare compared to last year?
Well, in this month, new listings are 3,537.
In Edmonton.
And compared to last year, the same time, that's an increase by 19.3%.
Yeah.
Right. So definitely the inventory has risen. In terms of numbers, the total amount of homes for sale right now is 4,843. So compared to last year, it was 4,190. So about like 700 more homes in the market.
Now, having said that, that's still incredibly low amount of inventory because in our size of city here, we should be somewhere around 12,000 to be balanced, meaning that we should have at least 6 to 9 months of inventory. Yeah. Right now, our inventory is down to 2.3 months.
2.3%. Yeah, 2.3 months.
So what that really essentially means for anybody who's not sure of what we're referring to here is, if we were to stop taking listings, it would only take 2.3 months and we'd be all out of inventory. That's nothing. It's still a very strong seller's market is what that indicates.
Absolutely. So yeah, this number is really low. Our demand still is not catching up with our supply. Sorry, the other way around. The supply is not catching up with the amount of demand that we have.
Yeah.
Even though we have 700 more listings as compared to last year, that's
nothing.
that doesn't mean there are only 700 more buyers. There are thousands of more buyers in the market.
Yeah, right now, I mean, let's think about this. This is May. This is the most active month of the year is May. April, May, June is pretty active as well. And then things start to slow down a little bit for the summer holidays.
Yeah.
And now, having said that, I mean, yes, we've had a little bit of an increase of inventory, but you're right, we had a lot more buyers come into the market.
Absolutely.
We're still seeing tons and tons of buyers that are very disappointed that by the time they get to even see this new listing, it's already got multiple offers on it.
That's right.
And that's just the reality of our market right now. So moving on, let's check out the sales now. Again, how many sales we had in the month of May versus last year.
So this month, our sales are 2,065 as compared to May 2024, where there were more sales, 2,152. But something to note, as compared to April last month, our sales have increased by 12.2%.
And again, no surprise there because sales activity normally goes up right from January, February, March, April, May. June, we may start to see things level off, and I'm guessing we're going to start to see things drop off by July and August. Because people are on holidays, you know, they've got other things on the go.
Absolutely.
They want to get the kids out as soon as the school's out, and then we're going to see the sales numbers increase again in September.
So it's right in parallel with what's going on. So number of inventory increased, but the number of sales has tremendously increased as well. So that just kind of leads back to the low number of inventory, which is 2.3 months in our market. Very, very, very strong indication of a seller's market. So sellers still hold most of the negotiating power.
We're out there in the trenches all the time. I can honestly say at least 50% of all of the negotiations I do is in a multiple offer situation.
I would say 80% of my deals in the last 2 months have been all multiple offer scenarios. If you saw the house in the morning and you haven't decided till the evening, that house is probably sold.
Or at the very least, don't be surprised if the sellers are not even interested in taking your offer because they're holding out to let everybody else have an opportunity to have a look at the home, and they want to have maybe some 2 or 3 days and then have a specific time that they're reviewing all offers. And that happens a lot.
Yeah, we usually see a trend where the home is listed on a Thursday and they're doing offer presentation either Sunday night or Monday morning, so that they give enough time for just make it fair for everybody. Having said that, it hasn't stopped bully offers coming in.
No.
People trying to pay cash offers before any other offer comes in. So, this is an aggressive market for the buyers.
Yeah. Now, just because that's the case with a lot of listings doesn't mean that's the case with every listing. There are still a lot of opportunities out there.
Yeah, we usually see this trend in homes which are listed below the market average. So properties which are listed below that 550 mark, sweet spot between 450 to 525, where most of these young families who have that 5% down payment or investors who are looking something with a finished basement have that criteria, right? So that's where most of the competition is.
I agree 100%. That is by far the most active segment of the market as far as price range goes, between kind of 400 and 525-ish here in the Edmonton area.
And if you're a buyer who's over that $600,000 price range, it's not that crazy.
No.
It is still difficult, but it is not crazy.
Basically, what everybody wants is what everybody would like to have. A move-in ready, updated home that's
new.
No work to do, or new, or updated to look like new, and in a great area. So we have a lot of those opportunities and tons of them as you go up into the higher prices.
Absolutely.
There is less and less multiple offers as you go up into the higher prices when you cross that 700 mark. So with that being said, let's go and just talk a little bit about days on market. How long are these listings taking to sell?
Well, I feel every month I do this, the days keep getting shorter. One day we'll be talking about it and we'll say today.
So far that's not the case. I hope that's never going to be the case anyways.
I can imagine the pressure on lawyers and the mortgage brokers these days, just because they get very short timelines.
And appraisers.
And appraisers, So yeah, let's start with our detached segment, Rob, here. Or you want to do all residential first? Let's talk about...
let's start with the average of all residential, and then we break it down to all the different segments. So all residential last year versus this year, days on market.
Yeah, last year it was 32, and this year it's 30. If you compare it to, May 2024, all residential, it was 32. So about 2 days difference.
It's interesting. It's not much difference. 32 days is not very much for all residential. That's very, very low. But if you notice the trend back from 2023 versus 2024, that went down by almost 10 days.
10 days. It was 43, if I'm correct. Yeah, 43.
43 to 32. Now,
32.
It went down by 10 days, which doesn't sound like much. But if you take that into context, 40 versus 30, that's about 25% less time.
Remember, and business and closings happen in business days.
Right. So it's very, very fast.
So it's very, very fast, right? So let's break
it down into the segments. Yeah.
So detached, last year, the average days on market was 31, which now we have reduced to 28. So you don't even have a month now before you make it an offer, complete all your conditions, and move into the home.
And that's the detached segment, which is where everybody would like to be. Now, the other segments that are very important are the duplexes, so semi-attached, and the townhomes. They're the ones that we actually see the bulk of our activity.
Yeah. Not a lot of change because it had already reduced to 25 last year. So we are standing at 27, just 2 days plus on that one, but 25, 27, that's not a big difference. So we're still looking at that under a month.
Again, by comparison, last year when we were discussing these stats, if you compare 2023 versus 2024, it went down again by about 10 days.
10 days, yeah.
So again, about 25% less time between 23 and 24. I mean, there isn't that much less that we can go. It's
exactly.
You still need time.
That's what I was about to say. Last year, it already went so low.
That's right.
That it's like kind of hovering in those days.
This is about as low as it's going to go.
Because you need that much time.
That's right.
We need at least that much time, right?
So further on, apartment style condos. Now, again, this is interesting because we here in the Edmonton area have always seen apartment style condos take like 60, days. 90, 120 days. Yeah. Now we're down hovering around what?
41 compared to last year, 43. Again, we reduced so much last year in the number of days on market that we are seeing like kind of consistency as compared to last year. So just 41 days for all apartment style condos.
Yeah, and good point you made that, if we look at a balanced market where we're used to here in the Edmonton area for condos, like you're still at a fraction, literally a quarter of the time it takes to sell an apartment style condo. Not like it used to. It used to take 3-4 months on average.
Yeah, so when the
good opportunities.
When the weather heats up and it's summer, it can give you a perception that there are a lot more listings in the market, which is true. There are a lot more listings, but as compared to the demand, it's not enough. So these numbers clearly indicate that it's a seller's market and clearly indicates that even though there are more inventory in the market, it is not in tune with the demand in the market.
So we're going to wrap this up with something fun. Just want to go over those high rollers. What's the highest price sales in every segment this past May, the May 2025?
Yeah, so a detached home sold for $5 million in Edmonton. We're not talking about Greater Edmonton area. We're talking about in the city of Edmonton.
This is actually right in the center. I know this property.
Yeah.
This was a brand new construction being rebuilt in an existing neighborhood with a gorgeous view of the downtown core. And get this, it's not backing onto a greenbelt. The front of the home actually still has a street in front of it. There is a park in front of that, but so it's not like it's backing onto a golf course. It's not like it's backing onto a park. It's not like there's a waterfall or an ocean behind there, or even the river here in Edmonton. It's actually just got this beautiful view of downtown. And of course, it's only going to take you 10 minutes to drive downtown.
Yeah, it's kind of in the center, and wherever you want to go to in Edmonton, it's going to take you 15-20 minutes, right? So.
$5 million for Edmonton. That's a record.
That's
for
a
sure.
record, yeah, for sure. And so semi-detached, so half duplexes, just under $1 million, so $967,000. No surprise. No
What's
surprise.
interesting is that we're starting to see these high nines as far as duplex sales over and over again.
Even
we
last
saw that last month.
Last year $975,000. This year $967,000. So
yeah, so that's pretty interesting.
same thing with townhouses. A townhouse got sold for $635,000.
And as compared to last year,
$636,000.
so they're up there. There's some nice townhomes up there.
Yeah.
And then apartment style condos. These ones are interesting because we have some very luxurious penthouses downtown.
Yeah.
But we also have, like we discussed earlier, some apartment style condos for well under 100,000.
Exactly. And so this one got sold for $808,000. Right. So interesting, and it's a specific type of living. It has a niche market for somebody who doesn't want any kind of headache, just wants to take the elevator, their private elevator, go directly into their condo and then just chill.
Relax, yeah, you betcha, and be close to everything. So we're gonna end it on that, but I do want to mention that I've been living here for 20 years now. I moved to the Edmonton area in 2005, and I can honestly say that we are still enjoying low traffic by comparison to some of the other larger cities. However, that being said, I can feel just how much more traffic there is, like on the Anthony Henday. It used to be rush hour, now it's rush 3 hours, like a lot of the bigger cities are experiencing. And you can just see that the amount of infrastructure we have here in Edmonton, there's a huge demand that's been put on Edmonton because we've grown by about 140,000 population in the last couple of years just in the Edmonton area.
Absolutely.
That's the size of Red Deer.
We do see more projects from the municipality coming up to handle the amount of traffic that's growing here in Edmonton. We do see the city making an effort, LRTs, especially outside the Anthony Henday, where all these new communities have been developed. We do see more construction in terms of public infrastructure being developed alongside with those new homes.
But yeah, I just wanted to mention that because, of course, we're going to be actually shooting another video soon about the fact that Alberta just hit a milestone. We are now over 5 million in population.
Wow.
And you know what's really interesting is it took 10 years for us to go from 4 million to 5 million. But we were creeping up by, 100,000 here, 100,000 there. It took us 8 years to get to 4.5 million. But it only took us 2 years to go from 4.5 million to 5 million. So we're really ramping up in the last couple of years.
Exactly, and that can clearly see in our housing market.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So, hey guys,
Still
that's
a great
pretty much
opportunity.
it. Let us know what do you feel and what you predict this market is going to be like in the next couple of months. Feel free to put in comments. Have any questions, put it in the comments. We'll be more than happy to answer. Until the next time, cheers and thanks for watching till the end.
Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the like button. Cheers, everybody.